Okay. There's a chance we might be live. So,
Okay. Oh, it
uh,
says live.
YouTube, people, chat. If you can see us, please post Jigglypuff in the chat.
I guess I can't post that because it's not about me, obviously.
No, no,
Okay.
exactly. Exactly.
Okay. I see Elena was here. She was here at 3:07. Was she talking?
She was.
Oh, man.
Okay, so it's okay. She came back in.
Okay. Okay,
Okay,
great.
we
Okay.
are a go, Roz.
Woohoo!
So,
Season 2.
yeah, season 2. Welcome to season
Yay.
2 of What It
Cheers.
Means to Be Human. Cheers, Roz, and thank you to everyone who's
Mhm.
been
Mhm.
supporting us along the way. Very, very cool. Today we've got so much to talk about. We're going to be doing a UFO or UFno clip. We're going to be talking about the Nazca Mummies, Pluribus, UAP Legislation, James Fox's press club. So much has happened. Trump apparently said that he's going to disclose in July. There was an article in the Times about UFO disclosure as well, which is a big deal. We've got some upcoming cool summits, and James Grusch threw a spanner in the works while we've all been away.
What?
So I suggest we just jump in
Dive
and
in?
get to it.
Let's do it.
So let's do UFO or UFno. Roz. Actually, first things first.
Okay. Yes. Love that intro. Love that
There you
intro.
go.
Yeah.
Official welcome. We have
Fancy.
begun season 2. It's crazy, Roz. We're what? I think this is episode 17,
Something
18,
like
something
that?
like that.
I'm starting to
Yeah.
lose track. Yeah. It's
It's
exciting.
been it's been a wild ride. Okay, well,
Mhm.
without further delay, won't tease it anymore. But Roz, this
Yes.
video comes from the one and only Jeremy Corbell and George
Wow.
Knapp.
Oh, wow.
So they released
Wow.
this week. There is no audio to the video. So
Mhm.
if you're listening to this on podcast platforms, what we're seeing is through an infrared military display. And there are 3 seemingly orbs of light that almost look fixed in formation, but they're kind of moving in and out of formation as well. And they're flying through the air. They're just bright, glowing balls of light. This was taken on the 23rd of August, 2012, in the Persian Gulf. It was forward-looking infrared FLIR, so the same kind of tech that captured the Tic Tac, and it was a Predator, an MQ-1 Predator drone that filmed this. So this is a high-end piece of kit. So when we say, oh, there's no HD, this is kind of like really good for what it's doing. You know, it's looking at infrared
Wow.
at heat. But yeah, this
Mhm.
is a military filmed footage of multiple UAP officially documented and cataloged within the intelligence community as
Mm.
orbs information.
Wow.
The Department of Defense War. I mean, I hate that term. The DO is it
W?
dead naming if I say DOD? The DOW
Mhm.
designated this a UAP.
Okay.
So this is the designation currently maintained. The platform itself was operating under the direction of the Air Force. The objects were observed and actively tracked, and the UAP appeared to demonstrate abrupt directional changes and intelligent control. There
Wow.
seems to be an absence of traditional propulsion or thermal signatures during performance. Um, and yeah, the origin, intent, and capabilities apparently remain unknown. So, what do you
Wow.
think, Roz?
I mean, I saw this on Weaponized. I just kind of was watching it while I was making dinner, so I wasn't paying a huge amount of attention. But my first impression of it was they looked like they were kind of playing. Like it looked like these orbs are kind of playing around, like moving in and out of each other's kind of, orbit. Like they're together and then they're kind of apart and then they're back together. And and I saw somebody mention something about birds. And I thought, I don't think so. They're moving fast, I think, for birds and kind of gliding. I don't know. It doesn't remind me of how I've ever seen a bird move personally.
Sure.
So I don't know.
We
What
we
about
were caught out
yeah,
by that other one that was a bird that we didn't think was a bird, I
that's
guess.
true.
So
That's
just to
true.
say that, we don't know what we don't know. So when we
Yes.
think of birds, we're thinking of how we've seen birds. So maybe this is how they look on this kind of stuff. I don't know.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, we might have an idea. But for the end, anyway,
Okay.
UFO, UFno. That's the
Okay.
first
Yeah.
welcome
I
back.
guess you have your ideas, but you can't tell us until later.
Right, exactly.
Yes. Okay. Perfect.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So first up, we're gonna dive in to the Nazca Mummies.
Ooh, exciting.
What you see on screen right now is the YouTube channel Incredible History, run by Will. Will is a great guy, and he goes out to these sites and investigates them. And he's been following this Nazca Mummies story since the beginning on his own dime. He flew out to Peru to film all the press conferences. He was very intrigued and in on this. And
Wow.
as you can see, recently he put up this video exposing the craziest hoax of all time, the Nazca Mummies. So it's safe to say that Will has changed his mind. But let's look at why. Because it's not just, as I've seen people say, a YouTuber just saying these are fake because that's what he thinks. Will is an anthropologist, a radiologist, expert on bones, everything like that. But just like all sensible people, Will went and found the experts. And he spoke to them. And they gave their opinion. And personally, I think it's worth sharing a little of who he spoke to. So this whole thing comes from a whole bunch of people, Jaime Maswan, and a whole bunch of people down in Peru. They have produced bodies called Maria, Montserrat, Paloma, I think what it's called. Then you have like the mini kind of skeletons that were presented at the Mexican Congress, I guess, insert picture here. And then they kept producing bodies, and it kept getting in the news that these things were alien. And experts were invited down. They said, we don't know, it needs further study. And it's just had the fixation of the community for so long. I know some people that are such devout believers, they bully people online about it. So as always, we defer to the experts, right? And I think there's something to be said here for niche expertise, which I'm sure you'll notice as I show you these clips. And for example, a dentist is a doctor. But if a dentist goes to Peru and says, wow, I couldn't find anything wrong with them, all it means is that the dentist couldn't find anything wrong with them. It doesn't mean, if I say a doctor couldn't say that these were a fake, that sounds bigger than it actually is. And I think that's what's playing out here. So first up, we have Dr. William Morrison, MD. He's the former president of the Society of Skeletal Radiology. He has a lot of experience. As I said, the president of the radiology, Skeletal Radiology Society. So he knows what he's talking about. So let's just take a little look at Dr. Will Morrison talking about
similar
the Nazca Mummies.
Kind of thing going on where they have all normal human bones, okay? Even the hands and feet are all normal human bones. They used to have a bone here. That bone was taken away in addition to whatever was connected to it. In this case would be the great toe. So that great toe was taken off. But when you look at the digits, they're not quite right. These are not metatarsals. These are probably metacarpals, the hand bone. So what they've done, and this is true for all of these that I've looked at, is that they've taken off the first ray, either the thumb in the hand or the great toe and metatarsal in the foot. They've cut along the Lisfranc joint, and they've kept these either remaining or they've grafted other bones onto them, and they've grafted one bone in the middle of these two joints here. So that's what the whole situation is. And this is Fernando's foot. I don't know which foot, but the interesting thing is that these are adult bones here. They do not have those growth plates. And one really important concept is that your hands and feet do not develop at different rates. You can be pretty certain, 100% certain really, that if your hands have open growth plates, your feet also have open growth plates. These are digits of different individuals, basically. Someone else's, an adult digits were grafted onto this teenager's foot.
Wah,
So what do you
wah.
think? That's pretty damning, right? And you can hear, like, and I
Yes.
mean this in the kindest way possible because I love nerds, but Dr. William Morrison is a bone nerd. Like, he really knows his stuff.
Totally is a
And that's
bone
such a
nerd.
particular
Yes.
niche of just expertise.
Mhm.
And when he's pointing out about these things,
Mhm.
I couldn't tell. To the untrained eye, it doesn't come across.
Yeah.
But you listen to the experts and what they're pointing at the signs, and you kind of go, oh, okay, yeah, I can see that matches. It's just 1 + 1 = 2, right? And he explains it real well, but it's kind of damning.
Yeah. That's what I heard. I remember hearing about the Nazca Mummies years ago, and that was, I remember the first impressions that I recall hearing was that it was grafted bones and that they were, so I don't know if I've ever, like, that's never really left my mind looking at them.
Sure.
So hearing him say that is just kind of like, oh yeah, here we are again, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And this
Like
isn't the
back where we
first time they
started.
tried out the bodies. This is
Mhm.
just the time that they're saying, no, 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 no. Like, yeah, those people that were involved in that, they pulled a hoax, but we're not doing that. These are genuine.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
this is kind of where we find ourselves now. How
Mhm.
many times can someone lie to you and you
Mhm.
keep taking it? So with that said, let's take another look at
Okay.
a clip from someone, Dr. Daniel Proctor, a PhD in bioanthropology. Here he is arguing that the hands on Maria and Montserrat have been manipulated and amputated.
Okay, so this is an image of Maria's left hand. You're looking at it from the side of the thumb. Toward the top of the hand would be the back of the hand. Now, this is showing you signs of amputation. I have an arrow there pointing to the trapezium. The trapezium is a bone that has a joint surface that allows abduction of the thumb. So that's what allows you to grasp. And if you look at that hand image in the upper right corner, that has an intact thumb, and you can kind of see the approximate placement. The approximate position of that hand is similar to the way Maria is represented. And you can see that I have a trapezium image below the hand, and that just represents the overall joint shape that the thumb would be articulating with. It's a complex shape. It allows a wide degree of motion, and it's very clearly still present. So if this were a hand that naturally only had 3 digits, we wouldn't expect to see joint surfaces without some kind of a mate to go with it, right? You wouldn't expect bones that serve no purpose in a natural hand. All right, so here is Maria's right hand, and again, we're looking at the back of the hand. And notice that she has the 3 digits. One of the things that I noticed when I was looking at the bones is that there's an inappropriate bone placed in that central digit where I have the arrow pointing. That is the first metacarpal that actually goes with the joint I just highlighted here. It looks like they made an effort to lengthen the fingers to make them longer than what you would expect in a
What?
human. And one of the ways they did that is by placing that bone in there. And
That's insane, right?
Oh.
Another bone
What?
nerd, but for a different part of the body. And in the rest of the video, he points out that there's evidence of this on the feet too.
Ay vey. Okay. So this is really tragic for people who have been following this and really into it and believing it, right? Because, I mean, are these bone nerds just literally taking apart every single every
Well, the
single
argument keeps
mummy?
being,
And
okay, well, the one that one's feet are manipulated, but what about the other 50 bodies they're presenting? They want tests
right.
done on all of them. But there comes a
Right.
time where you've got to say, enough, guys. Like, we've seen
Yeah.
enough.
If it walks like a
You know,
duck, sounds like a duck.
right. And apparently, I don't
Mhm.
have a clip of this, but I have seen experts on skeletal structures and joints explain that the specimens that are made here wouldn't even be able to move. Those
Yeah.
little alien ones presented in modern Congress, that actually they would have been totally fixed. There was no flexibility in their legs whatsoever. So these poor creatures just couldn't even move.
Right.
But that's the bones, right? And we've
Uh-huh.
heard a lot of talk about the DNA. And
Yes.
so the DNA testing is ongoing. Jesse Michaels said that he's going to put money into it and get these things tested. And, great. let's get to the bottom of it, right? But there are issues with the DNA because they got the results back and it said that there are some unknown aspect to the DNA. And many of the believers went crazy, right? Saying, oh, it's unknown, therefore it must be alien. Other people less so because it was still rooted in kind of a biology similar to us. So the markers were there to say, well, whatever this is, it came from Earth, you know?
Right.
So that debate is going. But Will was, you know, he had such a great head on his shoulders that he actually spoke to somebody who can speak to this point. This is Dr. Joseph Wilson, who is a PhD in anthropology with a background working in molecular genetic testing. And here he is explaining what unknown means when you test the DNA and why the DNA tests are just incredibly flawed.
Huh.
Like, what's going on there? What does unknown mean?
Contamination. It would be extremely unlikely, given that I believe that they're using commercial testing labs. They're not using dedicated, really hot, state-of-the-art, high-tech, cutting-edge, ancient DNA facilities. I think they're just packaging up samples and sending them off to test, which means that they're doing their work in the similar way to that I did at a, I worked at a reputable clinical diagnostic wet lab in the early 2000s. For several years, I worked there. And that would have been a place where we would have gotten random samples sent to us all the time from clinics all over the country. Somebody puts it in a FedEx thing, you get a test tube, you run the test, you send it back. If you're doing ancient DNA that way, you will get tons of contamination. There will be some, there is no way to prevent large amounts of contamination. So it would be frankly shocking if you didn't have a large amount of unknown DNA in your sample. Again, without knowing clearly what they're testing for and how, without them like setting up the parameters for their testing in advance and being transparent, and none of what they publish or present about this is coherent.
When I asked about whether a lab would be equipped to even find what they're looking for, what you're talking about, they've got to have some kind of a map of what they're trying to reconstruct, right? So if you don't, if you wouldn't necessarily, even if there was alien DNA of some structure there, you wouldn't probably even find it in a test like that because it's not designed to reconstruct it in the first place, right?
You're absolutely right. It's like, just like in archaeology, ancient DNA works from the known to the unknown.
From the known to the unknown. I think that's such a good point to remember, isn't it?
Dan, you're just dashing everybody's hopes over here. What are you doing? This is our first show of the new year.
What can I say? Will was very concise, so we're coming out swinging. Why not? And this isn't even the craziest bit, Roz.
Sorry, everybody.
I've got more.
Sorry, everybody.
These are a few just kind of, the experts saying it. And this is where, sure, it's kind of tragic because we have to realize that the community has been taken advantage of. But we have to understand how they did this hoax and why they did this hoax. So one, we don't fall for it again. And two, so we can address the issues that are actually causing this in the first place. I'm not sure the UFO community is going to address poverty in Peru, but, we need to understand it to understand why this is happening.
Well put.
So,
well put.
Do you think, or at least I don't think, that even if the DNA test came back now from a lab that said, there's something maybe intriguing here. We just don't know what it is, but we suggest you keep looking. Does that for you undo those manipulations you just heard about? Those forgeries where they've been cutting bits and moving bits around and making fingers longer? Like, do you trust it?
No, not even. No. I mean, I feel like that was, again, that's what we heard off the top was, that these were kind of constructed, like that they were like, models or dolls almost like put together, from different parts. And I remember early on they were talking about, was it animal bones? Were they using all these, different types of animal bones? And I mean, for me personally, I've really never bought into the Nazca Mummies thing. I've always felt like it's BS. I hate to say it, but and I haven't seen anything that has, proven otherwise. So yeah, for me this is like a confirmation. Yeah.
Confirmation will do.
Yeah, that it's a big old hoax.
I promise you there's a happy discussion after this one, Roz.
Okay,
I've packaged it like what do they call it? Like a shit sandwich, right?
Oh yeah, okay,
there's something
perfect. Yeah,
bad, there's
okay,
something
great.
good.
Yeah.
Actually,
It's like
there's
it's for
two
the I
three
want to
good things.
believe people. Like I'm like an I want to believe
Right.
person, right? So when you hear that like something like this isn't true, it's kind of sad.
Right. Yeah. But I always say don't be mad at yourself for falling for the hoax. You had hope. That's not a bad thing to have. What's bad is that someone would take advantage of it. You are not at fault if you believed this. I think.
Amen.
Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
A point that keeps coming up is that there's an osmium plate in one of the creature's chests.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of funny because there's a whole other story as to why this is happening. Where basically the osmium, if you ask ChatGPT how much it is, you do some cursory research, just quick Google, what you're going to see is osmium is the rarest metal on Earth, and it is, you got to pay millions for tiny chunks of it. Turns out, when you go onto the osmium subreddit, all these osmium enthusiasts that's their niche, they're osmium nerds. And I love them for it. They have uncovered
Okay.
a
Yes.
big scandal where a company in Germany is trying to sell osmium above market prices, and they've poisoned the search results. So for the first 3-4 pages, all you're getting is nonsense websites made by the same people pushing the same inflated prices. And by going through this little community of nerds, I found that I could buy a ball of osmium for about $100.
What?
So I could just make that. So it kind of speaks to the story that maybe one of these people who are hoaxing these went onto Google, typed real rare earth metal, up comes osmium because of this scam that someone's pulling, and then they put that in, and it's kind of been caught. Because I see this point repeated. Osmium's expensive. Osmium's rare. It is rare, but it's not that expensive. We have other rare metals. I have a meteor in my wedding ring, for example. This wasn't millions of pounds or dollars. Sorry.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's okay. That's equally tragic.
Also tragic, right?
Yes.
But a different facet.
Yes.
Like, unless you're an osmium nerd, you're not going to know that. So you need to go down these kind of routes.
Yeah, well, and that's like saying essentially that they knew the market that they were going to sell these to, right? Like, so they knew that the UFO community would be looking for these types of things. And so they, when they made these creatures, they were thinking about that, and they found those metals so that the community would believe that it was actually strange and rare. And, so it's always the rabbit holes. Like, it's always the rabbit hole, right? You could just go down it forever, especially with YouTube and everybody. There's so much information now. It's like, just pick a rabbit hole. We should do an episode just called The Rabbit Hole, Dan. Every episode, you just do another
deep, just go down.
Just go down it.
Prices.
What do you find down there?
All the crazy places it goes to.
Yes.
But you're doing really well. I've got to tell the audience at this point that the layout, the segment order for this episode and stuff, Roz hasn't seen it. I've seen it, but she is teeing me up like a champ here for the segues.
Excellent.
So, yes, it seems that they knew what they were doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They knew who to take advantage of and what to play. Almost like there's an industry built around this in Peru. And there is, Roz. You can buy these. You can go to markets and you can buy these. $20,000 for one of the ones that were shown at Mexican Congress. If you want Maria, it's about $1 million. And here's a clip from YouTube channel Luca, someone who lives in Peru, that filmed somebody who gathers these things to put together, talking about it. I'll read the subtitles. I supplied everything he has. I did it all. Do you know what else he has before? The brains from inside the skulls, the hearts of the dead. I carried all that in a bag like an idiot. In the heat of the day, hungry, with no food. Paid me so little. It wasn't even enough. He says they got about 8 mummies, tiny fetuses, little legs, feet in perfect condition. Everything, nerves, heads, a lot of skulls. He didn't pay it. There I was carrying my rat in my car, risking it all. I kept telling him, be conscious, think about it. He didn't ask for much, maybe around 1,000 souls. It's about $300. He rang me just recently. He came looking for me. He said, Hijo, let's go and get some more llama bones. He was doing a job using those bones. And the aliens, how did they make those? The interviewer asked. The reason is the extraterrestrials. That's the one. Martian, I told you. They're little because they're little babies, fetuses. Got it? Same technique. He extracts the head. Moves it gently and it comes off. The skin stays in place. You can put a bigger head, a deformed one, or a llama head, because he made me get several llama heads. There's a cemetery full of llama heads, lots of them. I got him everything. He told me not to tell anyone. Doesn't that make your skin crawl, Roz?
Oh, that is awful. Oh my gosh, that is horrifying.
Bodies that are being pulled up out of the ground and changed to look like aliens, and the community is eating it up.
Oh gosh, that is so disturbing. That guy, the video clip you just showed, that was like some kind of hidden camera or something, or he was not hidden, but he was obviously not on camera, the person who was talking about it, right? Yeah. So where did you find
this guy? And the reason for that is because you know, you can. I was gonna get more clips for this segment, but I was like, you know what, this is enough. At the grave robber video, like my stomach starts turning.
Oh yeah.
But Steve Mira said that he went out there before all of this fanfare happened, and they booked all the hotels. They went out there, you know, flew, paid for the flights, spent all this money, and then when they got there, the organizers said, "Oh, if you want to see them, we need an extra $1,000."
Oh yeah.
So they handed over the 1,000 because they thought, well, we've come this far, you know, maybe it's a scam, but let's find out. Turns out the average salary in Peru is about $650 a month. So the person that got that $1,000 just has a 3 months' wages. That's a massive. And then you consider 20,000 for these other bodies, $1 million for Maria. It really kind of ties everything together for me for the who, what, why, how.
That is like so disturbing. Where was that video from? Where was it taken?
So it was taken in a specific region of Peru where apparently militias kind of rule. And if he was caught filming, he would have been shot. This is all very heavy black market stuff.
And this was a documentary filmmaker that shot it, or who filmed it?
Just a YouTuber.
Oh wow. Oh my gosh, that's
just talking
crazy.
about it.
Did he post it up on his YouTube page?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And it kind of highlights that, you know, if you're not in the place and you don't know the culture, you know, if you can't walk down the street and see all these things on market stalls, you're not going to be able to sit on the other side of the planet and go, oh yeah, they're just making dolls to sell and they're lying about it.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Honestly, like that makes more sense to me. I mean, I don't know. I guess when you look at it like, you know, what's the simplest possible answer, right? Occam's razor, you know, it's like that is the simplest answer, is that they are constructed and they're being sold for money, and it's almost like a little industry, right? Because why not? You know, I mean, it makes sense. So yeah, it's that's super disturbing. Dan, I think you need to dive in and do a full-on documentary on it. Nobody's been talking about this. How's this not possible? Like, it wasn't Jesse Michaels?
It was on Weaponized. I know Jesse Michaels has kind of followed up with some of these scientists. Will is carrying on. But I actually I messaged Will and I said, hey, how does it feel to have spent all this money and put all this effort into covering this, and then find out that this is what's going on? And he sent me a video, so I'm just gonna play it.
Yay.
Just want you all to remember that none of those people digging their heels in right now told you about the damning information you learned in today's video. I hope they do continue to investigate, but make sure you all are holding them accountable with the reality of the situation. Otherwise, they will drag this on with some type of aura of this mystery that these might be some type of new species, when the reality is Paloma has human hand bones in her feet. The bones in the left and right foot don't even match. Maria has 4 phalanges, Montserrat has 3. Maria and Montserrat both have clear cuts on their hands and their feet. Every other part of their body shows that they are clearly Homo sapiens, and this fantasy that there's been no signs of manipulation is absolute horseshit.
Pretty decisive.
Well, there
And
you
can
have it.
hear how annoyed he kind of feels about this whole thing, right? But great work,
Yes.
Will. And
I mean,
like,
that's
let us know if you're in the
yeah,
comments what you think about that.
that's the job of a documentarian, right? It's like sometimes you follow stories and the ending isn't what you wanted or what you even thought, but that's the job. You're investigating it, right? And, it's good on him that he is being honest about what he's finding and not continuing to try to perpetuate a certain story because, more clicks or more views, or it's
Right.
kind of tabloidy, right? Like a lot of this stuff reminds me of, supermarket tabloids when you get in the
Aliens ate
lineup
my
and
baby.
right,
National Enquirer.
yeah, and it's like the images of these mummies and stuff. So yeah, good on him for being honest and following the story where it leads one way or another, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think an inspiration for the community, and tip my hat to you, Will, and Dr. William Proctor. I forget all the doctor names now. Daniel Proctor, Joseph Wilson, William Morrison, all doctors, and anyone else who's been involved with this. You're
Wow.
doing great work. Thank you. But let's
Wow.
move away from that and into something that I know you're going to love to talk about. I'm
Okay.
just going to play this little clip, and you'll know within seconds what we're going to do.
Okay.
But it is finally time, Roz. Let's have
Ooh.
a spoiler discussion.
Oh, yay.
Fun intro, right?
So good. So good.
So we are going to dive into the show Pluribus. It has finished its first season now. We were a little reluctant to do before because spoilers, but it looks like it's going to be about a year or two before the next season. So I thought let's get into it a little bit, Roz.
I love it.
Just before we jump in, we're going to be specifically looking at, could Pluribus happen? What do we know about the aliens, and do you think there's a cure? So we'll have a look at those. But if you haven't watched Pluribus, it is an Apple TV show about a bunch of, well, it's not about a bunch of scientists. It's about Carol Sturcker, who is one of the last kind of survivors on Earth who isn't infected by an alien virus that is received by scientists through a signal from space that they decode and make into an RNA strand. And it turns out there's this virus that spreads. Everyone becomes part of a hive mind. And there are, I think, 11 survivors, all spread out all over the world. We follow Carol. She lives in America, in Albuquerque, because I guess they love filming there after Breaking Bad and everything like that. This is a Vince Gilligan show after all. And then, yeah, you just kind of see her go through experience in this. And, we see I'm going to call the aliens the Plurbs, because Pluribus, so I'm just going to go with that. But we see, the Plurbs en masse. She at one point says, I want a supermarket back. And they all kind of come and put the supermarket back exactly as it was within minutes. Crazy high efficiency, world peace kind of happens. There's no crime, stuff like that. But obviously, Carol wants to undo the alien invasion. A lot of the other survivors have family members who are part of the hive mind now. So they kind of don't want to get rid of it. Because they think that their person is still surviving. So it's a big question of whether the individual disappears or not. And then there's a character in South America, Manusas.
Yes.
Oh, this was the segue from Peru. Manusas was our segue. Damn it, I missed it.
That's okay. That's okay.
But yeah, he is in South America, doesn't speak English, completely cuts him off from the hive, doesn't even talk to them at all. And decides that he's going to travel up to see Carol. And the kind of the show is about his travels up, through the Darien Gap, and it's horrifying and it's really beautiful the way it's filmed.
That is a rough scene. The one I'm
and-
thinking of. Yeah.
Yes, right.
Yes.
And then he goes up, he meets Carol, and that's kind of where we leave the characters at the end of season 1. Carol having fallen in love with one of the aliens, and
But did
then
she, though?
realized that actually the alien is out to get her to be part of the hive mind against her will. So the end of the season sees her kind of cutting all ties, asking the aliens for an atom bomb, and because they're all very, very nice to a fault and they can't lie,
Yes.
they give her one. So that's where we're left. Hell of a Chekhov's gun there, right?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yes. What a fantastic series. Hey, I mean, I'm a huge Vince Gilligan fan, so I've watched Breaking Bad twice over. I watched it once and then I watched it again when I was training for my last half marathon because I needed something to watch while I was on the treadmill. But you know, I just his storytelling, it's interesting because I found that it's really divisive. It's like amongst my friends, you know, people either really love it or they really don't. And I think it's because of the pace. It's like kind of slow. You have to get a few episodes in. It's, you know, it's subtle. I'll just say it's got a subtle vibe, the show, right? It's more deep. It's like what's happening internally in these characters, especially with, you know, Carol Sturka, obviously. And there's a lot of trying to, you know, decipher what's going on in her mind and what she's going through. And but yeah, I love it. I loved it. I'm so sad that we have to wait years now. I mean, it's just that's a tragedy to me. I don't like this new method of television shows where it's like you have to wait. You've got 1 year and then you have to wait for your one series and then you have to wait another 2 years. I don't like this style. Oh, I think we lost Dan. I think I'm here by myself all of a sudden. Well, I'm sure he's going to load back in. So anybody in the chat want to keep me company while I'm hanging out, waiting? It's technology, you know, just is what it is. I'm just going to tap dance for a few seconds here. Let's see if he comes back in. I'm going to message the chat. Awesome. Awesome. Dan's connection dropped. So I think maybe he and Elena are gone. So our chat master and my co-host. Oh, here we go. Have left the building. Oh, there she is. Elena's still there. Okay. What happened?
So I'm back. Can you see me? Our first gremlin, Roz.
Yes, I can see
Our
you.
first live
Yes.
gremlin.
Yes.
It literally kicked me off then. It said
What?
trying to reconnect, and then it literally just went to a different page. So,
Oh,
yes.
bizarre. Okay. Well, first time
I look
for
forward
everything.
to going back later and seeing you in
Yeah.
improv.
I was just tap dancing.
Ice baby, just to pass the time.
Yeah. I brought out my little, you know, my cane and I was just shuffling. Yeah, no.
Good job. But yeah, I
Yes.
couldn't agree more. 10 out of 10 on Pluribus.
Yeah,
Fantastic show. I
fantastic.
loved the pace. It's one of those shows that is like, it doesn't spoon feed you everything. It's like, no, we're expecting you to keep up. And as a result, you kind of put revelations together just before the characters do and then get to enjoy the reactions. Specifically, I'm talking about the revelation that they eat people. As I said, this is
yeah.
spoiler, so you shouldn't be watching
Yeah,
this.
you should have been
if
watching it
if
already. Yeah, you should have watched it.
go watch
Yes.
the show. But
Yes.
do you think it could happen, Roz?
Oh, well, I mean, I love the premise of it. I think, you know, a good, believable premise is, you know, sometimes really what hooks you in, right? And since, you know, Vince Gilligan seems to play in the world of the believable premise, right? You think about like Breaking Bad and the premise of that and this show. Yeah, I mean, I think it was really well done. I love the idea that they got this random code and reconstructed it and it happened to be some DNA. It was DNA, right? Or a virus rather. It was like a virus DNA that they constructed.
It was so I've been a TV nerd and I've looked into this and I think it was maybe on Threads I found someone, but a scientist that works in RNA creation,
right.
you know, programming them, gene editing, broke down at the beginning of the first episode. You see the scientists when they're trying to make the signal into RNA. There's a whiteboard with all stuff written over it, and apparently it was all great. The person said, "This is what I would expect to see if this is what they were doing in a lab," and they broke kind of the board down, saying, you can see that they're fitting the genes together in this part, and they're using these kind of proteins to kind of do it, and it's all kind of correct apparently. So, in terms of making, if you gave someone, a code on paper that you could also broadcast through space as letters, you could actually create an RNA from that could be a virus. And
Wow.
the other part for me is that the scientist gets bit by the rat because she takes her glove off to handle the rat that she thinks is
Oh,
dead, and
that's
then it bites her, and it's the
right.
first infection.
Yes,
Um,
that's
and
right.
then her fellow scientist, her colleague, who's the only other one in this hazmat room with her, breaks protocol and pulls her out of the room, and the doors close behind them. And everyone said, scientists better than that. They're professionals. They wouldn't do this.
Right.
Again, I went looking for some scientists, and I asked them, and apparently they would. Apparently they break protocol all the time because you get really
Oh,
casual and blasé with your job, and you're just like, oh yeah, I can just do this. It'll take 2 seconds. I think the rat's dead, and then it bites you.
right.
And we have to remember that this is a space signal, so any telescope can receive it, pretty much. If you're looking, with a radio telescope.
Yeah.
So any lab can decode it. It doesn't have to be Stanford or some big biomedical facility. It could be, some weird billionaire's ranch in Mexico who decides to do it, and creates this kind of strain and dooms us all. So I would say absolutely this could happen.
And I'm not the type of person who needs like a believable premise. Do you know what I mean? Like I can suspend disbelief. I can go along with a good narrative and not need everything to be true or, possible. But yeah,
Yeah,
it is
right.
it is
Sometimes plot
yeah.
holes kind of come down to, because the story wouldn't happen if it didn't happen that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, right.
It's like
Yeah.
that's the story that we're watching. So
Yeah,
you just roll with it.
exactly. But it is always, somewhat more intriguing. Like it's like Black Mirror, right? When you watch Black Mirror and you're like, ooh, this is literally feels like just the next step away from where we are. It's like so close to us in terms of time that you can see that happening, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does make it some like kind of more compelling, And I love the storyline about that this virus just makes everybody happy and they just want to like come together as a collective and make the world a better place. Like that storyline is genius. Like it's something I've never seen done before. And I just thought it was such a fun thought experiment to think through. What did you think about that, Dan? That premise.
I mean, I love the premise. Same as you. I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, people are people. They make mistakes all the time. I'm not gonna be a hard ass about that just because, like, what's the point? And we watch movies about giant robots and people making dinosaurs, and it's just like, yeah, we couldn't do that, but this is kind of an idea. This is a what if, right? What if someone did take their glove off and get bit by the rat?
Yeah.
This is the world, you know?
Yeah, totally. And I love the idea that, this virus makes everybody want to come together because in certain ways to me, it had this weird feeling about it, almost like social media. Like, how on social media, it's like almost like a hive mind and like, you have to agree on social media or you're part of the outliers and
Sure.
I think we talked about this before. There's like this dividing line between people who are like in agreement and then people who aren't, and individuality versus the collective. And am I allowed to have thoughts that don't go in alignment with what everybody else thinks? And like, it's just I don't know. I found it a really fun look at, individuality, right?
Yeah.
Versus the collective, right? Like
Yeah,
collective
Carol
good.
is a very like independent person, and she sees herself as individual and doesn't want help from the hive mind. And we see time and time again that actually she relied on a lot of people for help. The water company for water, electricity for electricity, the people stocking the supermarket shelves, the people making those things, the factories putting them there. And the show really kind of dives into how we're all connected despite feeling like we're individual. So we're all kind of part of a hive mind, right? And I like the idea that there's it's not just, a hive mind isn't one thing. They're kind of different types. There's a hive mind where you retain a bit of personality, but also you're plugged in and share access to the information. But then there's also hive minds where you lose all sense of individuality altogether, and you're just like an octopus arm, right? And well, maybe that's a bad example because each octopus arm has a brain and thinks
Oh
for
yeah,
itself.
that's right. That's right.
So yeah, more like ant
Yeah,
legs,
right.
I guess,
Yeah.
as opposed to octopus arms. Yeah,
Yes.
all kind of contained by, controlled by a main, I guess, spread processing. So yeah, and it also makes me think of Secret Machines. There was a great scene in that book where one of the characters gets surrounded in a field by cows, and they're all like possessed by the hive mind of these beings, these higher intelligent beings, and it's a really creepy scene, really creepy. And
Wow.
the show really moved for me from, oh look, they're all helping, everyone's working together, everything's nice, it's all fine. But then you kind of start seeing the cracks where they don't have enough food to feed themselves because they appreciate life, so they're a collective, so they're not going to kill anything to eat it, and these kind of deadlines are barreling towards them. So like you say, it's a good debate.
Yeah.
But you touched on it a little bit. But what do we actually know about these aliens? Because I wanted to look at them, and we might do a few shows going forward where I look at just different aliens in different media, like Signs, Independence Day, all those kind of things. Because it's kind of
Yes.
instructive, and it's also just fun, right? And
Yeah.
we like fun.
Yeah.
So we know it's a virus, not a being. We know it's a hive mind. We don't know if it erases the individual because no one's come back yet from being a part of the hive mind. But there was this lovely little clip in episode 9 where our main character Carol had been writing on a whiteboard all of her kind of this is what I'm learning about them.
Right.
She's kind of poking and prodding. She even captured one and drugged one of them to see if she could kind of bring it out of the hive mind, because they're doing it in a very sciencey way. So it was
Yes.
cool to see her kind of tackling it in a sciencey way.
Yes. They can't
but
lie. They eat
They
people.
can't lie. They eat people. Right. So I found this nice little neat list, right? So this is what it says in the book.
Here we go. Perfect.
Animals aren't affected by the signal. And the signal being
Right.
that Menusas, he found on a specific radio channel, there's a sound, an always broadcasting sound. And he eventually kind of scares one enough that we learn in the series that it kind of makes the whole hive, have epileptic fit type thing.
Yes.
And a lot of people die when it happens.
Yeah.
But that radio signal changes tone when that happens. So we know
right.
that signal is, them communicating. So it's kind of given us a little hint that there's something to disrupt there. But yeah, pets don't get it. If you're angry at them, they go into kind of epileptic kind of seizure thing. Eager to please, we've already spoken about that. They gave Carol an A-bomb, which is insane. I don't even know if Carol would know how to use it. They can't kill.
Yes.
She writes, not a fly. They can't pick up an apple. They don't play favorites. They love all the jerks the same. She's talking about the other survivors there. She doesn't get on with many. She's a little crotchety in the show. They're trying to change her using stem cells.
Right.
And they have a
Yes.
biological imperative. It's not a choice for them to spread themselves. It's a biological imperative. They just,
Yes.
at one point, one of them literally says to Carol, Zosha says to her, imagine somebody drowning. And you're essentially telling me not to throw you a life raft. I'm going to throw you a life raft because I love you. And they also tell everyone that they love them.
Yes.
Yeah, weirdly honest, they can't lie. They eat people. It's the bodies of people that have already died for their protein.
That's
They
right.
just
Yeah.
have it in these
Yeah. I
milk
don't know if
kind
they
of
like,
containers.
yeah, I don't know if it's a preference, but they seem to just be eating people because it's what they can get their hands on, right?
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. But there's another difference, right? Like that biological imperative kind of thing, an alien species being that different from us, they're just kind of accepting that imperative and going, okay, well, this is what we have to do. We have to be energy efficient. Whereas for us, there's a whole morality question around that, which doesn't come into it.
Yes. Yes.
They seem to communicate via body's electric charge. They all sleep in the same place together. Not
Yeah.
like, we're not talking orgies or anything. It's just
Yeah.
literally they all just have mats in a stadium.
Yes. I love the cuddle puddle. It's
The
adorable.
cuddle bottle is great.
Yeah.
It made me sad that no one was cuddling the dog though.
Oh, yeah. It was sad how the animals gravitated to the people who were like individuals, right? That's what it
Right.
seemed like in the show. Like the dog would gravitate to Carol, and the goat, right, to the little girl who was or the young girl. Yeah, that was kind of a heartbreaking part. Animals in shows
really
always
was.
break my heart. Yeah.
We also found out the signal was from Kepler 22b, which is 640 light years from Earth, and that is something
Right.
we're actually looking at now. It's an ocean world,
Yeah.
and they are building a giant antenna. One of the scientists say at the beginning that antenna to make the signal that they received would have to be the
Right.
size of Africa. So all these plurbs are
Right.
currently working together to,
Right.
I guess, pull resources, build an antenna the size of Africa, and yeah. It's crazy to think. So
Yes.
do you think there's a cure, or do you think they're going to cure anyone?
I mean, I think Carol could have killed everyone because her anger, when she gets angry, it reverberates, right? And everybody has like seizure, and so I think she could have taken everybody out, or she could harness that somehow. Are her and Manusos going to find a cure? I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. It's going to be interesting to see how this all unfolds. It seemed like Manusos is on to something, right? So that's like where they kind of left it, was he's got the radio signal, he's figured this out, he's like, got his plans, I think. So we're definitely something's gonna unfold in the next season. Whether that's a cure, I'm not sure. What do you think?
I guess we'll see. The scene where Carol asks Zosha, who's one of the plurbs,
Yeah.
about happiness and what makes happiness, Zosha lists off a bunch of
Mm.
chemicals, oxytocin, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's like, along with the radio signal, I think that's the other thing. They have to like suppress the happiness and break the radio signal.
That's interesting.
So they
Yeah.
literally have to make humanity unhappy to beat the aliens again, which is kind
Okay.
of,
Yeah,
it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's Carol's MO. I mean, she's just
Right,
she's the
exactly.
Grinch, right? So she's her unhappiness is going to be the key to this.
It's gotta be.
Her
It's gotta be.
negativity is going to be the key somehow. And I kind of felt like, and I don't know what Vince Gilligan's like, premise was going into this, what his thoughts were creatively, but I really did get this feeling that he is speaking to this societal situation that we have on our hands, which is everybody is so, at odds, right? We're at an all-time high in terms of our divisiveness right now because everybody has conflicting opinions and no one can come together to find a way forward, right? That works for everybody. And so I do feel like he's speaking to that with this. I'm not sure like what his thoughts were when he wrote it, but I do feel like that's part of the thematic approach that he's going for here. So yeah, it's got to be Civil War, Dan. That's where it's going. So
Would you join the hive
ultimately.
mind to stop a civil war? Is world peace worth it for you?
Oh, that's tough. I know this is the beauty of the
is.
show, right? It's the beauty of the show.
Yeah, welcome
'Cause
to season 2. This is just a
Yeah.
really light episode to start things off.
Yeah, exactly. It makes you contemplate these things, right? Like, would I lose my individuality so that the world could be a better place? That's really tough. I mean,
Yeah. It's barreling
yeah.
towards us with stuff like Neuralink and things like that. 50, 100 years, we can all plug into each other
Yeah.
and share thoughts across the planet and
Mhm.
feel empathy. And the billionaires will have empathy blockers so they don't have to relate to any of us and feel hungry or thirsty.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
Hacking is
gosh.
going to be hacking is going to be amazing because you'll just be able to switch it, right? There's a great Twilight Zone
Yeah.
episode where the society is all linked like a hive mind, and a virus gets into the system. And so they turn to the only person on Earth who like said no to all of it, and he's a natural. And throughout the episode, like he's dumber than them, but he's more innovative than they are.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a good episode, but I feel like it kind of sums this discussion up really well.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
and
I don't think that I would join.
Yeah, well, and
I don't
I
think
mean,
so.
it goes to the heart of what it means to be human, which is our
Everyone
individuality,
drink.
right? It's like it's our individuality. That's what it means to be human, right? So he's also asking that question, right? Like, does our individuality make us human? Is
Yeah.
that critical for humanity, or is melding as one big hive mind and progressing in a way that is kind and compassionate the way forward, right?
I love that.
Yeah,
Some
yeah,
connection is important, but not total connection.
yeah,
It's almost like you need to
yeah.
keep the self to reflect, to do better. And that's a process we should all be in,
Hmm.
but not everyone is, it seems.
Yeah. Well, and when you hear people talk about like near death experiences and stuff, there's always those, oh, I had a life review. I got to go
Right.
back and look over my life and my choices that I made. And did I learn anything? Because the idea being that, as humans, some people believe that we're here to go through our life journey and learn and grow and come out the other end a better person, right? And the whole idea of karma, and whatever you do negatively, you reap, and you come back in the next life and you do it again. And so yeah, anyway, it
I've always
definitely.
liked the idea with
Mhm,
like reincarnation and karma of
mhm.
you will experience being the person with the boot on their face, but you will also experience being the person putting the boot on someone's face. And it's all those experiences that kind
Right.
of make up consciousness and the universe. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And maybe that
yeah.
is what we're here to experience. And, without that experience, what really are we? Well, maybe we're just a big virus. I don't know, that just, propagates throughout the universe and takes over planets. Because it's got a negative vibe to it too, right? Because
It does, yeah.
it's cool, like that it's all compassionate and kind, but when you think about it, it's like, ooh, it's actually kind of
It's
gross.
ruthlessly cool.
Yeah.
Kind.
Yeah.
So it's like, screaming, let me love you, and trapping someone in a room. It's like Misery's version of love, Stephen
Oh
King's
my
Misery.
gosh.
It's like that.
Gosh. Oh my gosh, I just
But it
saw
tricks
Send
you.
Help. I just saw Send Help.
Oh, that was fun. That was a
Yeah,
fun
did you
movie.
see it too? Yeah.
Yes.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah, right.
Ruthlessly kind.
Yeah. Like, you don't know what's good for you. I'm going to trap you here and make you.
Yeah, well, that is the show. That is Pluribus. Yeah.
It is. It is. Wow.
Love
Okay.
it. Love it.
Let's swing over to I'm trying to find Chrome tab. No. The web browser here. I've got some
Okay.
news to just kind of quickly swing through, Roz.
Okay.
These are the little bits we can cut out.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Well, after. Yeah.
Okay, so you can see the article on screen.
Yep, I can.
Excellent. So just a little bit of UAP legislation news. I'm just going to swing through it real quick. In New Jersey, they have taken the first in the nation step towards studying UAP by passing legislation that creates the country's first state-funded research center, a public university, backed by annual grant funding. The law, signed by Governor Phil Murphy, directs roughly $3.5 billion per year toward university grants for UAP research and related aviation safety programs,
Wow.
including support for air traffic controller reporting and study. The initiative aims to reduce stigma around UAP reporting in aviation, as well as bringing academic credibility and systematic data collection to a field long viewed as fringe.
Wow.
That's great, right, Roz?
Super exciting. Yes. Very cool.
This is what we want more of. And we are getting more. I keep hitting my stand. I apologize. I get a little wobbly on the camera. But up in Vermont, we're moving at a state level as well. Apparently, a bunch of states are fed up with the federal government's handling of the UAP issue and are taking it into their own hands. And in Vermont, lawmakers are pushing a bill H0654 to create a state level UAP task force to collect, centralize, and investigate reports of UAP, underwater too, and present them to the public. The proposed panel would coordinate with federal and academic partners, provide a formal reporting channel, and issue regular public updates, which marks a big shift from, Arrow kind of not being so transparent, as well as a big shift in airspace safety and public transparency, rather than leaving everything, in the closet and under the classified banners of federal agencies. So if you're up in Vermont, please call your representatives to ask them to support this.
Very cool.
That's pretty good. Vermont's right by you, right, Rose?
Yeah, it is actually. I did my half marathon there in Burlington, Vermont, which was beautiful. What a stunningly gorgeous little community. And found out that like Bernie Sanders was mayor, I believe, of Burlington, Vermont when he got started in his career. Yeah. So anyway, that was kind of cool. And there's a Ben and Jerry's right downtown in Burlington, Vermont, and it's the
Oh,
most
you gotta love it.
adorable. It has a VW van inside the store. It's adorable because Ben and Jerry's started there, right? So,
Yes, they did. We drove. I didn't go in there, but we drove past the factory because Elena used to live
okay.
up there. So I
Oh.
got to visit, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Lots of snow,
Mm.
lots of space, lots of quiet, lots of wildlife.
Yeah. People are
Yeah,
amazing. People are amazing. I met so many nice people in Burlington. Yeah, it was a great trip.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice place. So kind of cool that they're doing this.
Yeah.
In other news, apparently Donald Trump is set to reveal UFO secrets in bombshell speech. This is an article headline. This isn't me saying it. It is GB News, which is basically Fox News in the UK. Reading this article, I realized again, not all is what it seems with this. I've seen the person making this claim, Mark Christopher Lee. He's a UK-based writer, director, and ufologist, and
Okay.
he said that he's been told by the Trump administration that they've been given the authority by major world leaders to go ahead with the announcement. However, what these articles don't tell you is that Mark Christopher Lee just had a new movie come out about the Rendlesham UFO case.
Oh.
So for me, this is promotion. No one has
Oh.
reputable has said Donald Trump is going to make an announcement. It could turn out the market's exactly right. But, his movie came out last week and now he's all over the news saying Donald Trump's going to tell us about UFOs. Also, my new movie's out. You should go watch it.
Interesting. Yeah, I would say that's
Narrowing
wise.
eyes.
Wise is yeah, narrowing eyes emoji.
Yeah.
Yeah. I usually look at
That.
stuff like that and I go, is this being reported anywhere else? Or is this just a one-off kind of article? And if it's a one-off, I'm like,
Well,
sus.
sometimes you have things like this where you'll get the one off and then it gets echoed. People pick it up and it kind of becomes a game of telephone. And that actually
Yes.
happened with this next article that I'm going to speak about,
Okay.
which was in the Times. And basically, quick summary of the article is a former Bank of England policy expert, Helen McCaw, has urged the UK central bank to create contingency plans in case of a government announcement confirming extraterrestrial life, warning that such a revelation could trigger major financial market instability, widespread panic, and possible economic disruption if investors suddenly struggle to value assets and lose confidence. She suggests a kind of path forward and calls out Andrew Bailey, who's head of the Bank of England, to kind of start doing these, start addressing this. But this got picked up by so many different places. And it is good that it got picked up by so many different places. But the headline, Bank of England must plan. And I'm seeing a lot of people read this and go, oh, the Bank of England have announced that they're going to be planning contingencies. And
Right.
Helen is, Helen's great. Her background is absolutely outside of the UFO world. She was a Bank of England policy expert. Her background is in risk modeling, financial systems, contingency planning. But she is into the UFO stuff. I met her at a conference a couple of years back, and we got talking about this. This is what she wanted to do, to write this article and get it out there. So congratulations for getting it out there. But also, I think a good example of that kind of game of telephony type stuff going on.
Definitely. Yeah, I saw she's a senior, or she's a former expert, right? Former expert. Yeah. And it's the whole thing about you got to look past the headline, and most people just don't. Like, I mean, I'm bad for that too. Like, if I'm on Reddit and I'm scrolling through and I see a headline, I don't always click through to read the whole thing, right? And we're so swamped with like streams of information all the time, that sometimes you forget. And this is what's weird about it, is that sometimes you forget what you read, right? Versus what was just a headline, because
Right.
there's so much information and it all kind of becomes this muddy, in your mind. You're like, did I read an article that said that, or was that just a headline? Did I actually, you know what I mean? So like we kind of
No,
have
it's so true.
false memory around like what we actually know to be true versus what is actually true. It's a weird way that information gets spread, right? So yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
and then you also get, wait, can you see this one, the asteroid?
No.
Hold on. Hold on. Okay, can you see the asteroid?
No, I can't. What? No. I'm seeing I still see the Bank of England article.
Hold on. Let me find you again in here, Roz.
Okay. David says, I give the disclosure speech the same chance of happening as I do of a polar bear running across my front lawn here in Southern California today. But I truly hope I'm wrong about that.
That's amazing.
I could not agree more. But every time I see it pop up in my news feed, I'm like, ooh, that's exciting. Maybe it'll actually happen.
Oh, absolutely. I want it to happen, but also it's like terrifying based on how the world is right now and how everything's going.
It's true. There's enough chaos currently. Yeah.
So you can see this one. You can see the meteor now, right, Roz?
Bennu. Yes.
Bennu, yes. I know I've touched on this before, but I just wanted to cover it in the signal proper.
Yes.
And this one has gone way under the radar. So like you say, like sometimes news takes on another shape and it kind of goes further than it should. And other times things don't get the light kind of shed on them at all. And this will 100% be one of these inflection points in astronomy where, we realize that life is actually all around us. But scientists analyzing samples returned from the asteroid Bennu by NASA's OSIRIS-REx mission have found pretty much almost all organic molecules that are considered key building blocks for life on the asteroid.
Wow.
The materials include numerous amino acids used in proteins, all 5 nucleobases that make up DNA and RNA, and other organics such as ammonia, bioessential sugars like ribose, and glucose. And although they don't prove that life is on Bennu, we didn't find any creatures on there, they really strongly support the idea that asteroids delivered complex kind of prebiotic chemistry to early Earth. So we are all kind of arisen from a mixture of what was here on Earth and what crashed here from space, Roz. So you, Roz, are an alien.
I prefer to think of myself as Stardust, but okay.
we are all little aliens.
Yes.
And nature, by its nature, just takes part in panspermia.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes total sense. Again, not surprising, right? To me, these are the things we've been waiting for science to find, right? It's kind of like it makes, we all kind of have this feeling that this is what's happened, right? But we don't have the proof. So this is the first actual proof of that, right?
Right. And it's crazy to me that this is being slept on by the UFO community, because this is basically proof that the building blocks for life are everywhere in the universe. And it raises the question of, okay, if the building blocks are everywhere and we know that there are, all these planets in these Goldilocks zones and with their own stars and things like that, why aren't we seeing life? That's the Drake equation.
Yes.
Essentially, if there are that many things out there, why aren't we seeing life? Where is it all?
Yeah.
And it's a real good question.
Yeah.
But are we looking for the right thing? Because as Dr. Joseph Wilson said earlier, we work from the known to the unknown. So we're looking for what we recognize, not for what we don't recognize. And as I covered in another Signal episode, even the idea of what life is has undergone so many changes in the past, 100,000 of years since recorded human history, that people would just argue over whether something is life or not when they find it, unless it shakes their hand and says, "Good day, old chap." They won't kind of acknowledge it as life. But here we are, looking at things like Pluribus that, okay, you could have an alien virus that constitutes a life, and you missed it because you skipped over a rock and thought it was Mars.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. It's also just the crazy theory as well regarding the Drake equation and why don't we hear anybody or why haven't we seen anybody? And the idea is that because other civilizations stay quiet because they don't want to
Right.
attract the wrong
The
kind of
dark forest.
attention. That's spooky. AF.
Yes.
That always freaks me right
Yes.
out. I remember the first time I read that theory, I was like, oh my God, we've been sending things into space forever. What are we doing?
Right. Send in locations, right? Like I put my
Yes.
name and Elena's name on this shuttle that's going to go to the moon. And I've done it with so many other things. My name's
Oh.
been on a chip that's going near the sun, the Parker Solar Probe, and, sent out into the universe. And I'm like,
Oh.
wait, do I experience these weird things because I'm just saying, like, putting my hand up on everything, and they're like, who's this guy? His name's everywhere in the universe. You need to
Yeah.
go see him. And now I'm like, why are you coming to see me? And yeah, I gave them directions to my house. And they came to look, apparently.
Well, it was like the
Very
beginnings.
strange.
Yeah, it was like the beginnings of Foursquare, right? When we were all like, "Oh, here's my
Right.
location. I'm here. I'm at this cafe. Oh, I'm over here at this gym. I'm over here." And then in retrospect, now we're like hiding our locations. We're like, "What were we doing? We were giving, corporations the opportunity to track us, and also." God knows who else, right? It's like, why would you just be publishing your look? It's the naivete of it all, right? Like,
Naivete. I
let's
love
just
it.
push it out into let's let everybody know where we are in the universe. I mean, that to me is actually, that's a really smart theory, which is maybe you don't want to let everybody know where you are, and maybe other people are quiet because they know that. I don't know. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a dark theory.
I take
Yeah.
it you've seen Three Body Problem. Have you read it?
So good. No, I haven't read it. No, but it's
Okay.
fantastic.
So no
Yeah.
spoilers from me,
Okay.
but
Okay.
they do go into various methods of how you would hide. It's not just a case of not broadcasting, because people might look and they'll see you, right? So you've got to think about how, when you signal to the universe, hey, here we are, how in that moment you signal something that is the perfect message that everybody understands with no translation issues. That is, hey, we want to make friends and trade, and we come in peace. Because the second that you broadcast, the idea is that there are finite resources in the universe. So if you want your civilization to grow and be protected, that the kind of the logic of the situation is that you should defend yourself immediately, which means if you find life on a planet, you just blow it up. And yeah, it gets very dark, but there is some hope in Three Body Problem. There is a little trading, and a small kind of group of different species who do trade with each other. But that's already kind of a spoiler already. But I just wanted to say, hey, the dark forest theory is kind of disproven in the series that it's from.
Yeah, that's good to know.
So-
I'm not usually a dark forest person, but I do think that there's something to it. Didn't Stephen Hawking say something about not letting aliens know where we are? I thought he had something to say about that at some point. But anyway, neither here nor there.
I think he did. I think you're correct that he said we should stop sending signals out. But
Right.
I mean, that made me narrow my eyes at him in a kind of, what did you do, Stephen?
Oh,
why are they coming for you, Stephen?
what, you think it's an Epstein file situation from space?
He's doomed us all. I don't know. He's stolen a paper clip from a ship where he shouldn't have, or something. I don't know. Like, he sounds like he's in trouble, and he's gotten the rest of us in trouble because of it.
Yeah, maybe he knew something we didn't know, like you're saying. Yeah,
Right.
maybe he has some. Hey, anything's possible. Anything's possible.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So we're just going to take a little, hold on a second.
Okay.
Oh, I see what's happening. Okay. So we are just going to take a little breather
Okay.
as I play you
Okay.
a little trailer for something. Or am I actually?
I'm loving this like multimedia extravaganza, Dan. I feel like I'm just
Um,
peeking into your mind. I'm like getting a look at everything that you
I
look at.
see.
Yeah.
I got it. Okay. So you can't
Okay.
play something while you're web sharing. Now I know that. Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
here it is. Anyway,
Okay.
take a second breather break. Have a little drink. This is a
Okay.
trailer for an upcoming UAP summit that has some excellent guests, and Gary Nolan, Eric Burleson, Massimo Teodorani, to name a few, but pretty much a who's who of the UAP world. And yeah, I'll play the trailer and then I'll tell you the little surprise we got for you.
Okay.
The Navy says it still doesn't know what the objects are.
The minute you get eyes on them, they go dark.
They must disclose more information to the public.
Unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAP, are being reported across air, sea, and space domains. In the absence of verifiable data, misinformation fills the gap. Explanations are lacking and often contradictory, leading the public to ask, what's really going on in our skies? Recent congressional testimony has raised urgent questions about UAP. Risks to flight safety, lack of oversight, and potential challenges to national security are now being formally acknowledged by governments around the world. It's becoming clear we can no longer ignore the reality of UAP. But testimony alone is not enough. We need the full capabilities of science and technology in order to move from uncertainty to understanding. We need data. The UAP Detection and Tracking Summit convenes researchers, technologists, policymakers, and informed citizens to build new capabilities to detect, track, and analyze UAP, and gain critical understanding into the anomalous objects and craft increasingly reported over our homes, cities, and critical infrastructure. With calibrated instruments, coordinated field research, and transparent scientific collaboration, we can detect and track anomalous objects and generate the data needed to drive forward the disclosure of UAP. The technology is available. The expertise is here. The capability to understand what's in our skies is finally within reach. We invite you to join us.
That's super exciting. Can I just say? Am I here? Am I here, Dan? I don't see myself. Oh, there I am. Okay.
You should be here.
I thought I got
Here you
dropped off
go.
the edge.
I'm just
Yeah.
getting used to these controls here.
I love
But,
it. You're
but yeah,
getting
that
your
looks pretty cool,
master of the
right?
control. Yeah, really great. Yeah.
34 speakers, 14 sessions, 3 panels, February 7th to the 8th. And you can register now for it. Tickets are $75, but as an exclusive for you, if you use the code, all caps, UAP Detect 30, and 30 is in numbers, you'll get 30% off that. So UAP Detect 30. It's really cool. Roz and I are going to go and watch this too. A lot of the speakers, Mike Gold, he testified at Congress in one of the recent hearings. There are so many new faces here as well that I haven't seen. Love seeing Chrissy there too.
Yeah.
The Congressman, Gary Nolan, Rich Hoffman, Brian Graves was one of the pilots that encountered these things. Beatrice Villarreal, Ovia Roll. Yeah, I'm terrible. My accent's terrible. I'll have it tell me how to say it. Richard Dolan, Bob McGuire. The Tedesco brothers have kind of a roaming UAP laboratory. Massimo Teodorani did the Hessdalen kind of investigation, Hessdalen lights. I don't know if anyone else out there. I used to have 2 monitors, and one would always play that live feed 24/7. That's how I spent my teenage years.
I love that.
And yeah, so that's upcoming. It's uapsummit.org. So yeah, go register for that. It's a very cool event.
I love Elena and I are basically just like clones in the chat. We're just like constantly posting the same stuff right after each other. It's amazing. I don't know how that's happening. We're hive mind. Speaking of hive mind, Elena, we're hive mind.
Hive minding.
Yeah,
You are.
I'm
Okay.
totally going. I'm excited about that. Yeah.
So we have gone way over what we expected to, but it's okay. We're tying in the ship. Last thing to talk about, Roz. Let's talk about James Fox.
Oh my gosh, yes, my favorite.
So
yes.
let's start with the movie itself. Moment of revelation. Oh, sorry, moment of contact. New revelations.
Yes.
What did you think?
I loved it. I know I saw the first film like a couple years ago, and so watching it again, it was great because I was reminded of a lot of the story. But yeah, I really found it super compelling, especially the testimonies of the men. The one, I don't have their names in front of me, but the one man who saw the craft crash and subsequently encountered the Men in Black types, and then also the neurosurgeon the neurosurgeon who
Yeah, that's right.
treated the creature in the ER. I just found them both really compelling. It's so rare that people cry on camera. Like, I mean, I've filmed a lot of people. I've done, I have documentary that I just produced. I've been shooting documentary style content for years. And it's really, really rare that people will open up that much on camera. And so when I saw those two men being so emotional about it, and saw James in the moment getting really emotional, I was like, these are real moments. These are real stories. Like, these people are 100% telling the truth of what they experienced. And I just found that so powerful, especially men being that emotional on camera, doesn't happen often, right? Yeah, I actually, when I watched it, I felt like this is probably in my top 3 UFO docs that I've ever seen. Yeah,
The new one or the old one as well?
the new
Or the
one, yeah.
original one, I shouldn't say old one. You see what I
Yeah.
mean?
The new one. I think the new one's way more powerful with the surgeon giving his testimony. And yeah, I think the new one was really, really compelling. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
I noticed James also, correct me if I'm wrong here as well, but there was more stuff from the more recent hearings that happened after that original release. So
Yeah.
James has kind of reworked a lot of that stuff as well.
Yeah.
Honestly, for me, I didn't
Yeah.
like it.
What? What?
So I like the story, but
Yeah.
it is just that, a story. A lot of
Yes.
these witnesses have changed their stories over the years. Part of this, James talks openly about. He's the first to say, I'm not saying it definitely happened. I'm just following the lead and showing you guys.
Right.
And so, yeah, the stories are changing. There are a lot of kind of disconnected parts that kind of feel disparate for me, that I can kind of feel the storyteller in James connecting that may not necessarily be connected, like the craft landing and then the body, the alien in the red alien they kind of talk about seeing in the city. That could just be two different events, just kind of
Yep.
correlations are there as opposed to definitely, but the story's told in a certain way. It landed here and the being was left behind and it went into town and it hid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we get that testimony about the guy who touched the being and supposedly died from the infection. And I've got a little clip of this because I guess we'll segue from the film into the press event that James just did on January 20th in
Yeah, I
DC at
watched
the
that.
National Press Club. So a lot of the same people were there from the film. A lot of the witnesses, a lot of them couldn't come as well, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
This is a little clip from the press club.
Conclusions focusing exclusively on the identification and analysis of the bacterium responsible for the infection that affected the soldier. This bacterium proved to be a microbial agent of extremely high aggressiveness and lethality. Given its characteristics, I understand that it goes beyond the limits of a conventional infection, possibly presenting itself as a highly specialized mechanism of aggression and defense, which raises the hypothesis of its alien origin. We are currently awaiting the necessary legal procedures for the exhumation of the body, with the expectation that advanced studies in molecular biology may provide new evidence regarding its mechanisms of aggressiveness, corroborating the hypothesis that it is an organism of extraterrestrial origin. If confirmed, such a finding would represent unequivocal proof of the existence of extraterrestrial life, implying a profound global reformulation of our philosophical understanding of existence. January the 8th, 2026, Virginia, Dr. J. Giannini.
So that was one of the doctors reading about
Wow.
the agent that infected the soldier. And for me, that kind of sums up what I feel really uneasy with this story.
Hmm.
The amount that he was talking about ET, alien, so on and so forth.
Mm.
It's really well documented that that soldier was killed with an infection, but
Mhm.
it was a really common infection that could happen in a hospital. And there's a autopsy report kind of out there that says, you know, this is normal. But then you've got this bit of the story that kind of comes swinging in saying, no, it wasn't normal. I mean, I'm not an expert, right? So I can't say whether it is or isn't. Even if I could look at the thing in my hands, I wouldn't be able to tell you whether it was alien or not. But there just seems to be red strings between everything where I don't necessarily agree. So it's not a film or a case I would necessarily say to someone if they said to me, like, what should I look at with UFOs? I'm into this, but I don't know where to start. I wouldn't give them this. This is more kind of for someone that's been in ufology. They don't mind that I don't know. They don't mind just spinning wheels as the story's kind of reeled out. And that's fine.
Yeah,
But
I get that.
I'm
yeah.
kind of a bit more like decisive about it, you know, like the phenomenon, James's other movie just felt more decisive. Like they are here. This is happening. This was like, it just ends on like, is it, isn't it? I don't know. And I'm like, like I would have watched something else for 2 hours if I knew this is where it was going.
Yeah. Well, it's a totally different type of film, right? Because phenomenology. Look at me go. I'm just pumping your series there, Dan. The phenomenon, you know, is like it's looking back over history, right? And it's also, you know, it's leaning really heavily into the facts and things that have happened and historical events and people and testimonies that have been, you know, looked at and mulled over and, you know, have kind of had that river stone treatment where over the years they've been smoothed off, right? Because we've figured it all out, everything around all of that. So it's very known. Whereas this film, you know, Moment of Contact it's following the evolution of a story in real time. So it's James as a filmmaker trying to put together, you know, investigatively these tangential kind of threads, right? Like maybe this is what happened, and he's kind of laying out his hypothesis or theory of what could have happened, right? As a filmmaker.
Yeah,
So
for
totally
sure.
different type of film. Yeah. What did you think about the two men in Moment of Contact, their testimonies, like the man who saw it and then the surgeon?
They were all really interesting. You know,
Yeah.
like emotionally, I completely agree with you. You know,
Yeah.
genuine emotion there. Something happened to these people.
Yeah.
I would never in a million years say that this didn't happen, that they didn't see UFO, that they didn't see aliens. The story just feels very piecemeal to me. So I'm not sure it's like quite as like it's almost like I felt it was jarring to experience like the high production value and the narrative storytelling in something that should have been very documentary investigation. Does that make sense?
Kind of, yeah.
You know, almost too much sheen on it for kind of what it was doing. Like, you know, it's a run and gun documentary, but they've got like 5 cameras and they're setting up, and you know, James is in this one a lot more than he was before.
I see.
And so I'm like, yeah, it's kind of going that way, and I'd prefer let's just, you know.
Yeah, just the
Go
facts,
back.
ma'am. Just the
Yeah,
facts,
just
ma'am.
the facts, ma'am.
Yep.
Maybe I should go live in
dragnet
Minnesota.
approach.
This is show me state, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
you
Yeah,
know, the press event I thought was interesting. You know, for people that haven't watched the movie, again, it kind of came off to me like promo for the movie because it came out at the same time. It didn't really have a big impact. There weren't a lot of, you know, US peoples there. You know, Kirk McConnell was he was kind of on a bunch of the Senate kind of committees who spoke to people that reported UAP. But I couldn't help but sit there thinking, what would this look like if it was right after the UAP hearing with Dylan Boland and he could just go ham and open up in a live press setting with Q&A with press? You know, imagine that weaponized interview that you did, but just live on camera with news interviews and stuff like that right after the hearing, I feel like that would have been more impactful. That's kind of what I wanted from this, and that's what it wasn't. But, you know, it's still great to bring people on board and explore it. Don't get me wrong, but just I wanted more.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, James definitely has, like, you know, he's developed a real style as a filmmaker. And he probably had a little bit of budget to play around with, so could bring in a couple extra cameras and one to follow him. I don't mind him being in it because I really think that he's on the ground and he's trying to figure this stuff out, and it feels very genuine to me. I don't feel like he's kind of superfluous as a character and like we don't need him there. You know what I mean? I feel like he lends a lot, and also it's kind of about his personal journey, right? And like seeing him in that last scene with the surgeon, like tearing up as the surgeon is talking to him about how this creature that he saw, he thought it was like an angel, and how emotional he got and how emotional James got. I was like, oh, we're seeing James's journey here too, you know? And because as a documentary filmmaker, like you never really want to be too biased, right? You don't want to show too much of your bias. And so with James, like getting teary on camera with him, I was like, oh, he's really showing his bias, right? Because he wants to believe. He's letting us in on that.
Sure.
And, you know, I have a lot of respect for that, because I think that that's a line that you tend to not want to cross as a documentarian. And so I think he gave us a lot there by doing that. So yeah, I hear you. It definitely has more polish, and it is loose, right? It's loose. So yeah.
I think maybe it would be not completely removing James for me, but just removing some of the moments that I felt were, oh, we need this shot to connect to the next scene. Let's do James talking and smoothing that over. You know,
I
that
gotcha.
kind of stuff.
Yeah,
the bit
I
where he's
gotcha.
in the street with the signs on himself, talking to the locals about
I
loved
that.
it. Loved all
I
that
love
stuff.
Yeah, oh, good.
That
Okay,
was
good.
all
I was
great.
like,
But I
oh,
wanted
love
more
it.
like that, you know. But yeah.
Yeah.
So just before we go to
Yes.
our UFO or UFno maybe
yes.
solution,
Yes.
I wanna drop a little bombshell for people. I've never
Okay.
said that before, but I'm just gonna play this clip of David Grush's recent appearance on the Megyn Kelly show.
What?
I did want to point out General Clapper, the former DNI, in the documentary. I certainly applaud him for at least speaking out in general. He goes on, I believe, I've only seen clips of Age of Disclosure, not the whole thing, where there was a program when he was the Director of National Intelligence where they were tracking these vehicles over Area 51, of course, the famed classified test location. And I'm a little bit disappointed as a fellow Air Force officer, and certainly General Clapper rose to the ranks as 3-star general. That's all he said in the documentary, that was a program he was aware of. In fact, without being inappropriate, I will say that General Clapper was well aware of the crash retrieval issue, managed the crash retrieval issue, and when he was the DNI, USDI, and DIA director, he placed people in critical roles to manage this issue, both publicly and I'll just say non-publicly as well. And I'll allow the audience distill what I'm saying at the risk of being inappropriate or going too far with my discussion. So General Clapper, Stephanie O'Sullivan, other folks in the IC that are well aware of this issue, that were in rooms discussing this issue, I ask you to be greater leaders on this. I should not be the only former military officer and intelligence official that is being completely candid with the information that they were exposed to. So perhaps
once again, James Clapper understates what he knows and what he's done.
Wow.
So David Grusch, the guy who had
that.
access to almost everything when he was investigating this stuff and testified in front of Congress and gave those lists, just named the guy at the head of the program. And he's a guy that's been shoulder to shoulder with us, calling for transparency in this cause. Wow. And it turns out he's had it all in his pocket this whole time. For me, he needs to be subpoenaed and at a hearing. This is a guy that, you know, when Grusch says he hired people and not so publicly hired people, he's telling us like this guy is installing all the people to run these programs. He's heading it up. He's at the top of it. You know, Director of National Intelligence. It would make sense. But yeah, he's just being cozy, giving little breadcrumbs in, the age of disclosure, and apparently just holding everything back. So thank you, David Grusch, for pointing that out. And let's go. let's ask our, congressional representatives to get James Clapper in to testify on the UAP issue, because it seems that he knows.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that, so I have zero reaction other than just, wow, Bruce Wayne does it again. or what was it, Batman we were calling him? I can't remember. Anyway, yes.
One and the same, or two sides of the same coin, I guess. Depends.
Yes.
Okay, so with that, we've kind of covered everything. I think this is the first time we've managed to do that. We're way over what I was hoping, though, for time. So, but it's fine. But yeah, the UFO or UFno, let's get to the solution.
Right. Yes. Okay. Fire
or the
it up.
maybe solution.
Yes.
Because you mentioned birds, Roz, and
yes,
I think you have a good point in that, what I said is true, that we only know what we know. If you've never looked through a FLIR thing at birds, you're not going to know what birds look like on FLIR, right?
Yeah.
But then there's another aspect to it of, if it is birds, does this mean the US can't identify birds?
Right.
Like that seems really
to me. That seems no.
So there's kind of an assumed appeal to authority there, right, from both of us. And I think it's fair, but we are doing it. We are saying, well, no, they must know because they've said that they're really good at what they do.
Right.
We could also, if it is something that was as basic as birds, we could also think like, well, who sent this to George and Jeremy?
Right.
Like, is this a counter intel effort?
Mm-hmm.
Like to kind of, make people
them
stop
look
listening
stupid.
to them and stuff. Make them look stupid. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. We know Congress has been briefed with this. We know it's called UAP and it's in the files. But, certainly if I was running the UFO program, I would put a whole bunch of just prosaic, normal stuff in amongst all these like crazy triangle videos and stuff so that, they get leaked out. People think they've got something genuine and then get the rug pulled from them.
Yep.
So, but we're not image analysts, right? And nor are Jeremy and George. They're just presenting this to us. So
yes. Oh dear.
I'm just going to present this.
Oh dear.
As the very last thing of the show, Roz, and then we're going to call it
a
day.
Okay. Here we go.
It is silent, so you can react as it's going, and I'm just going to hit stop after we finish. But thank you to everyone that's been listening, and let's see.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh, seriously. So on the left it's birds in like infrared. Is that what I'm looking at? Night vision. And then the right is the actual footage and they look identical.
That is correct. Listeners, audio only listeners, you just heard Roz's assessment. She thinks UFno. Would I be correct thinking you think UFno, Roz?
I think so. Yeah, that's tragic.
UFno. Wow. Yes, tragic. See, shit sandwich. Started with an Oscar and ended with
You're
that.
right. I was just gonna say, you did wrap that up quite nicely. Well done, Dan.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, Roz. As always.
Yes.
Love
Thank
you
you
to
for
bits.
thank you for
Couldn't do this
having
without
me.
you.
This was fantastic. I loved you like walking me through it. It's been a great. I'm learning so much just from all of your clips and stuff. I feel like I'm informed. I can't imagine how the audience must feel.
Well, that's what we want, right?
Yes.
That's what we want. And as they say, let's leave them wanting more.